It's the 4th of December 2021, and this morning's upload is with regard to the ongoing violence against faith, religion, and spirituality in Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland. Now, as I've mentioned, since I gave birth in 2015, there has been spiritual violence caused against my little baby boy and I. Now, there have even been health practitioners that have partaken in the slander against my good name and my good reputation and my good character and my profession as a teacher, and have supported very spurious, unsubstantiated claims that are very dangerous and slanderous against any mother when they were preparing themselves to separate my child from me to assist the culprits that are trespassing onto my farms. So, as I've mentioned, the spiritual violence commenced in 2016 and it's now 2021, and my current abode is still a place of spiritual violence, and there are still individuals using bodily integrity offences as a means of spiritual violence. So this is a huge concern I have with the developments, especially lately in healthcare, with regard to COVID and with regard to NEFIT and the origins of NEFIT and all of these circumstances that I've had a role to play in, particularly with the changing face of the democracy since 2018, as is established in the forums that I've shared about. So there are individuals that are still conducting spiritual violence in Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland against a married mom, and they're disrespecting the healthcare developments that I have had a very huge role to play in. So the issue of the authorities and the relevant bodies and the United Nations, etc., being obstructed from providing the supports and the obligations that are to be met, being obstructed, all of these matters, while individuals are disrespecting and damaging health and well-being, sanity and sobriety. It's the huge fellowship of sanity and sobriety that I'd say would be abhorred by the circumstances I'm confronted with. As I entitled the upload yesterday, the insanity of society is like what I've experienced since 2016. Very guilty, irresponsible, incompetent human beings repeating their misdemeanors and misconduct to evade their huge debts and to cause further damages and disrespect with their defamation. So this morning's upload is to establish that my current circumstances are of spiritual violence that I'm tolerating yet again, and as I have been since 2016, experiencing bodily integrity damages by those of substance abuse that have forgotten, I suppose, how difficult it was for them when they were suffering at the hands of those that were procuring from my light fragments. So the Honourable Government is aware of my role in legislation, and the Honourable Government is known to have obligations fulfilled to royal patronage. Now, the issue of healthcare and the Hippocratic Oath all being disrespected, and individuals trampling into a person's private life, be he a priest or a president. Either way, people have shown the lowest form of behaviour that I have a huge concern for as a recovery advocate and as a person that specialises in health and well-being and recovery. So there are individuals of bad politics that are obviously not able to demonstrate courage and bravery in these progressive days, and I commiserate with those individuals that have not had the courage and bravery to confront their failings and that have exacerbated their wrongdoings. I find it to be a very poor sign of the times and a very bad example set to young aspiring politicians or any aspiring educators. So the practitioners that have disrespected the Hippocratic Oath and that have combined the recent healthcare developments with spiritual violence, bodily integrity damages and spiritual violence are going hand in hand in these circumstances. And since 2017, the Honourable Government is aware of my role in the changing face of this democracy at home and abroad. So there's been no courage or bravery demonstrated, but there have been huge levels of disrespect that I take awful exception to having earned and been entitled to expect my obligations for my hierarchy of needs to be fulfilled. There are obligations to royal patronage, and unfortunately, this hasn't been happening in the democracy. So it's a sad sign of the times. And as regards the child that I gave birth to in 2015 that is missing, that is a very serious issue. So, with regard to bad politics and bad business, I hope everyone is aware of the issue of repetitive measures to cause dirty deaths in the democracy.